Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm really excited for today's project. You can see behind me a beautiful pond. We are at our neighbor's house, so it's just the house right across the fence. We were walking around their property earlier this spring, and we were just kind of taking in this pond area, and it's so beautiful because they're kind of on a hill. So there's a gorgeous waterfall. I don't know if you can see it right behind me. I'll show you the whole area here in a second. But we thought it would be fun to bring some plants and just tuck them in around the pond. Just a fun change of scenery for all of us. So this is the lower level here. Isn't that gorgeous with the view and the pergola right above it with a nice seating area? And they've already got it really beautiful. I mean, the plants are looking so great. And then you can see up here, the upper level, there's a waterfall, a little collecting area, another waterfall, and then it kind of comes down a stream. We'll walk up there in a second and spills down into the main area. Now today is kind of a weird weather day. You can see it's a little breezy, it's chilly and overcast. It rained this morning, but this area here is usually full sun. So that's the sort of plants we're gonna be bringing over here. Let's walk up this direction here. I love the natural, like the little cattails here, the natural grasses. There's some hollyhocks in here, juniper, barberry. There's a little patch of milkweed right over here. But look at this. Isn't that just so beautiful? There's some lilies right up here. This right here, I'll have to ask him. We might be able to move this, but I don't really want to plant anything if they usually use this area for some tubing. I'm guessing this was just for a temporary project, but we'll figure that out. Blacklist elderberry, there's a butterfly bush here, boxwood, and there's just like a lot of really great opportunity for us to tuck some things in here. There's nice roses, and then the gorgeous waterfall, and a look down toward the bottom. Isn't that just awesome? I don't get to plant around areas that look like this every day, so this is just a really fun project. So we're gonna go head back home and start bringing over some plants, and I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but we're gonna try to capture the process for you guys. Here comes my ride. Oh, they've got a really nice raised vegetable garden area. And then here's our house right over here. So as point of reference, this is our house right here, and we are gonna be working right here. All right guys, so we're over here at the high tunnels now, and we've just pulled a bunch of plants that I think are really pretty, some of which we've carried over from last year, like these roses right here. So they will be extremely happy to get out of their plant containers and be in the ground. So we're gonna see how many of these we can fit in the gator. I think this load right here is gonna take us a couple trips, and then we're gonna head over and find some perennials and annuals. I just really wanna deck it out. This is so fun. Oh my gosh, we got it all to fit.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, including 5 daylilies, you guys, that I forgot that I would really like to work in because they are absolutely gorgeous. They're called King of the Ages, and we've got a couple blooms. I don't know that they'll open today. They might open today so we can see it. That's a spent one, but you can see the color there. So pretty, and I think that strappy foliage will look really nice, but look at this. Oh, plants always look so glorious when they're smushed together, like instant impact in the gator. I love it. So we've got a ton of plants placed in this whole area. They start right up there, and there's a whole bunch on the side, right in front here, and then tucked in to different pockets around the pond. I think what I would like to do is just get everything planted and watered in, and then we'll walk through all the plants that we chose and kind of what my thought process was. right guys, so we got everything in the ground, drip was run, we mulched, and while this was not intended to be a makeover project because this is already a gorgeous area, I do think it's going to be so pretty, and mulch helps everything. It's like that at our own house. We add mulch and I feel like it elevates garden beds so much. So what I want to do is walk through all the plants and kind of go through some of their stats, some of the care instructions, and I'm going to start right up at the top and we'll work our way down. All right, so we are at the very tippy top of the fountain. Like the tallest part of the waterfall is right behind this juniper here, and this is where we started planting. We started with this gorgeous Blacklist Elderberry, and I know that they like this plant because they have another one on the other side of the pond, and I thought it would be nice to kind of draw some of that same interest over. Like it's just right beyond those hollyhocks there. I don't know if you can quite see it from this angle, but these right here, zone 5 through 7, super great plant for our area. They grow well no matter where you put them, as long as they have enough sun. They're a full sun lover. They'll grow 6 to 10 feet tall and wide here. If you leave them unpruned, they sometimes even get bigger than that. But I thought that this would be such a wonderful plant up here because it will provide height. I think just this one branch, just this one, will probably need to be trimmed at some point so that this plant can kind of fill in this gap. It's going to be perfect. And it's going to be the perfect contrast to their light colored statuary right here. So we'll have that beautiful, soft, kind of dark, almost black background to this statue here. And then you can see these roses were already here. They are, oh, I didn't even mention Blacklist Elderberry. You can keep them size controlled by cutting them all the way back to the ground every year, knowing that if you do that, they do bloom on old wood and they produce these big, beautiful discs of bloom. If you cut them back, you do forfeit the bloom, but you also can help keep them smaller if you want to. So back to the roses, these were here. I kind of went with what they like color. They have color all over the place and it's pink and red and I mean just really fun, which made it very easy for me because I was able to be very free with the color. So the red roses here, I thought it would be nice to put 3 more. These are double, oh so easy, double red roses. So there's one here in the front and then one right here back right behind the statue and one right there. So these are a zone 4 through 9. They grow about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, have these double red roses. They're really pretty. I mean, they just look very soft. You do not have to deadhead these in order for them to keep blooming. They'll just keep churning out blooms, and they're disease resistant. So we don't deal with, I have oh so easy roses in my landscape and I don't deal with any problems with them thus far, and it's been years. So I've been really happy with them. Now, every once in a while, a rose will throw out a long cane and you can come back in and cut those off at any point of the year. If you want to size control or shape up this type of rose, you do it in late winter, early spring when they're dormant. You can easily see if there are any dead branches at that point and can get them out, or you don't have to. I have some that I didn't even touch this last year and they're absolutely fantastic this year. They're gorgeous. And I didn't really want to add in a lot of things that caused our neighbors to have a lot of extra maintenance. I wanted this to be a project that they could enjoy. They weren't out here watering. There's drip to all of these plants and things that they didn't have to come out here all the time and prune on. So there's 3 of those, and then we've got 3 Playin the blue salvia. So one right here, one there, and one here. Now these are just an annual. They will not survive our winter, but they are absolutely worth planting. They grow big, like 24 to 48 inches tall, and they get a couple feet wide, beautiful kind of velvety leaves that have a sheen, and they just bloom beautifully with these blue blooms, and I thought the blue with the red would look really pretty. No deadheading necessary on these either. In fact, the calyx that holds the petals on, once the petals have dried up and kind of fallen off, the calyx still maintains a lighter blue color, so they never appear like they need to be deadheaded, which is fantastic. So let's move down to the next level here, kind of our next grouping of plants. Right here, I did leave some natural walkways like to the pond area because I know that they do come in here to maintain. There's lilies in there and they'll come in here if they have any algae issues, and I know they needed to have some space for that. So right here, these plants were here, and so was that rose, but I added 3 of the Pyromania Flashpoint Kniphofia, type of red hot poker, and these will grow about 4 feet tall. I have a cheat sheet, you guys, because there's no way I would get all the stats right. Even though I've grown all these plants, I could tell you, oh, they get about this tall, but I don't want to be wrong. So yeah, 4.5 feet tall, 3 feet wide. So this will eventually create a nice clump right here. And not only do I love their blooms, but even when they're not in bloom, they just look like a beautiful ornamental grass. They add some really wonderful structure. So they come up with these bloom stalks that are yellow, and they kind of graduate. I guess they start, yeah, at the top yellow, and they graduate down to a paler yellow and then a white at the bottom. And they'll bloom a couple, 3 times a season. We have a really long growing season, so we typically can get a lot of blooms out of them. These do benefit from being deadheaded just for the appearance of the plant, but it's a very easy chore to do. You come out and just, you know, pop those off when they're done blooming. And then in the spring, you come back and just shear the plant back. So you'll come in right here, shear it back, and then they'll come back fresh for you. And these are a zone 5 through 9. They do attract a lot of pollinators too. I see honeybees on mine all the time. Right in front of them, I did a few more of the, let's see, yeah, 3 more of the Salvia, Playin the blues, so that we kind of continue that interest down. And then Supertunia, Vista Snowdrift. Which one of these, the tag, I think the tag says that they can get like 1 to 2 feet tall and like 4 feet wide. So I'm expecting, like, yeah, they're gonna have to maybe tuck some of the branches into the flower bed once they want to crawl out into the grass, but I'm expecting them just to kind of fill in this whole area and be a beautiful blanket of white, a carpet of white. As we move down here, we've got 3 more of the Oh So Easy double red roses right here, a little grouping. I thought that'd be pretty right behind this rock. I did pop some Gaillardias in here. These aren't the only 3 I used, but I ended up popping the other ones up. When you plant these are the heated up Scarlet. I've noticed that they look kind of sad for a little while until they take hold, take root. And these were in a little bit more shade at our house where we were keeping them. So I told them, like, let me know if these don't bounce back, but typically in my experience they do, and they produce so much color. The next plant here is actually a brand new daylily for this year. It's called King of the Ages. They grow about 38 inches tall with their bloom stalks and 2 feet wide. These are gorgeous. The big tall stems that they produce have 6.5-inch lily flowers that are like a apricot, like a soft apricot color with a burgundy throat and burgundy margins, and they're kind of ruffly. They're so pretty. I have a few I'm going to put in my own garden as well. But I wanted to tuck one in behind this rock, one behind that rock there, and then one right in front. Right here we've got, I think this is a variegated, like a northern sea oats grass, Chasmanthium. I think is the botanical name, and this one will put on some growth too, but I don't think it'll be quite as tall. I don't think these will compete. And then we've got more of the Supertunia Vista Snowdrift, and that's kind of something I repeated throughout the whole thing just to kind of bring some cohesion. So let's move to the very front here. So let's start with the top layer. These are an annual. They are a Vermillionaire Cuphea. So I wanted to plant some of these because the hummingbirds are so attracted to this bloom in particular. They will find, like, they will seek this plant out and they will find it, and then you'll have hummingbirds all over. And I thought that would be so fun if we could attract some. There was a hummingbird in our greenhouse yesterday. So these will fill in this area here. They're growing about this tall, and I just started one up there and kind of made a little drift. And then we've got Lemonjade Sedum right here, which is one of my favorite sedums. You guys know, those of you who've been watching our videos, I've got this in a couple areas of our garden. The reason I like this one so much, it'll grow like 18 to 20 inches tall or so, but it has yellow blooms on it. So it's a little bit different than the pink blooming sedums. And this flower bed here, you can see it kind of slopes downward. So this will be my tall, well, we've got some iris back here and a mallow. We'll have this layer of sedum, and then we have our next layer, which is the Sweet Romance Lavender. Now I did plant initially the heated up Scarlet Gaillardia, and they were just looking so poorly this morning. I decided, you know what? This is our neighbor's garden. I don't want them to look at something that needs to rebound a little bit. I want them to look at something gorgeous from the get-go. So I brought the Sweet Romance over this morning, and I love it. And the fact that it's a perennial is wonderful too. It grows 18 inches about tall and wide, and it's one of the darkest colored lavenders that I've ever planted. And I really like that because I like to dry lavender. And if you do that, a lot of times when you dry flowers, it loses a degree or two of color. They get fairly light. But since this one is so dark to start with, it maintains really nice color even through drying. But this one will produce color without needing to be deadheaded through the summer. I think they'll really enjoy this one, and they'll be able to enjoy this and the sedum for years to come. And then our bottom layer here is the Supertunia Vista Snowdrift again. We've got a few more of the Playin the Blue Salvia, which will provide our really tall blue right here. And then more of the Vermillionaire Kofia, just to tie this area together. So now we need to cross over to the other side to talk about the rest of the plants. In fact, I'll just pop right up in here. Hopefully the water noise isn't too loud, you guys. It's so nice though. I don't ever get to hear that. It kind of like, it makes me want to put something like this in, Erin. It's so beautiful. 3 more roses just to tie the rose kind of theme together. There's one there, there, and here. One more of the King of the Ages Daylily tucked in behind that rock. There's a buttlia, a butterfly bush there. And then we've got some white wands of Veronica right in here. So it's a zone 4 through 8, and it grows about 16 inches tall by 20 inches wide. I've got this in lots of areas of my garden, and I love it. Like, you can shear it back after it's done blooming its first time and it'll bloom again. Or you could just leave it alone like I do mine. I never shear mine back and it just keeps on blooming. Like, there's always color. I just saw honeybee leave that one, but there's always pollinators around this plant. They are wonderful, and I thought that the white blooms, the bright white with the red roses, would be a really pretty look. Then there's another Supertunia Vista Snowdrift, but I think you'll have to come this way, Erin, to see it. I just kind of tucked a few random ones in here so we could have some color right in here. And then before we head up to the top, there is another King of the Ages Daylily right here, which you can kind of see. These are spent blooms, but you can kind of see the color on them. Isn't that so pretty? Like, that is right up my alley right there. I tucked another one of the Flashpoint Kniphofias right behind this rock. And then we planted up this little area right here. So the milkweed, which is gorgeous, is already here, and it has a pink tone, the milkweed flowers. And then the barberry you could take cool as well. So I went with some pink stuff over here. Plus, they've already got some really beautiful purple flowers going. So I've got 2 of the Summerific Evening Rose Hibiscus. Now these, you guys, they have like the bicolor kind of foliage. So they've got the dark color with the lighter green, and they produce these 8-inch huge hot pink flowers. So there's one here, and then there's actually one right there at the back corner of the pergola, along with some Supertunia Vista Snowdrift around the base of it. That's really the only thing we planted up there because they've already got roses going on and a pathway. I didn't want to encroach too much. But these will grow about 4 feet tall, 5 feet wide. They come up fresh from the ground every year, so it's fresh growth, easy to take care of. You can leave them until late winter, early spring, and you can come in at that point and cut them back to the ground, and then they will sprout back new growth, and they grow fast. And where there's the top of each one of these branches, they'll just be loaded with flowers. I'm actually really excited because they were telling us this morning that we could come back and do updates. So I think we'll be back later on this summer to see how things are doing. 3 more of the Flashpoint Kniphofias just to bring in that grassy texture and also bring in some cohesion to the area. A couple more of the white wands of Veronica. And then we've got Supertunia Lovey-Dovey right here. So I think with the pink flowers here, the Supertunias with a little bit of pink, but also the white, so it kind of matches the Snowdrift, is a really nice look. And then we've got a couple of, well, 3 of the Sedum Boogie Woogie. And I just wanted to try them out right here. I want to see how they look because I think it would be gorgeous to fill up this whole little section with sedums eventually. This is a variegated sedum that has the yellow bloom, zone 3 through 9. Pollinators love it. It's just a really low maintenance plant. And I don't even fertilize, like no starter fertilizer or anything for the sedums. You just pop them in the ground, make sure to give them water a little bit here and there. I mean, even though they're a drought tolerant plant, we're very hot and dry here, so we have to irrigate ours a bit to keep them happy. And then there's one more sedum up top. So we popped 5 sedums called Pride and Joy right here. Now these grow about 12 inches tall. They'll spread out about 20 inches wide, and they keep themselves in like tight little mounds with bright pink flowers, and they're just beautiful. Zone 3 through 9. And I thought for this kind of sloped area, it would be a really easy choice of plant. Sedums, you come in the late winter, early spring and cut them back. And that's basically all you have to do to them. So that pretty much concludes our tour of the pond area. It was so fun to be here. I mean, because we can kind of see this area from our house, and we've been down here before looking at it, and it's just fun to plant somewhere completely different. I mean, planting on a slope like this with the big boulders and hearing the water, it just got me out of my element and made me feel inspired. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this, and hopefully we will be able to come back and give you guys some updates later on. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.